What's going on, guys? We are here with Sohee Lee, and she's just presented at the UEBC. We're going to talk a little bit about her presentation. So Sohee, do you want to talk to the guys about your presentation and what your discussion was all about today?
So the main topic was on dietary strategies for long-term weight loss maintenance. So how can we get people to not only lose the weight, but keep it off over the long term? And I talked a lot about willpower and habits, which I love talking about. And then I also talked about different actual practical strategies that I've worked with my clients that work really, really well.
Yeah, so I guess something I wanted to ask you was, obviously a habit is a behavior that becomes automatic over time, and that is very much going to stem from people's values, their beliefs, and their attitudes. And something I really think was valuable that you spoke about was implementation strategies. So do you want to sort of pick apart that concept and talk a little further about what happens before a habit occurs?
The trigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so habits are super interesting and they dominate the vast majority of our daily actions. So even things like when you get out of bed, do you step out with your right foot or your left foot? That's a habit. You don't even think of it anymore. When you put on your pants, which way do you put them on? How do you brush your teeth? Yeah, exactly. These are all things that are habit. And like you were saying, I think culture has a huge part of daily habit as well. And
just making less decisions.
Yeah. And really quick, one myth that I kind of wish that I had brought up. One myth is that it takes 21 days to form a habit. That is not true. It can take anywhere between a second to 60 days.
Wow.
So for me, when I was 14, I saw my friend picking her hair. I started picking my hair every day for the last 15 years. It's been immediate habit. Whereas other things that are more difficult habits, obviously, because not all habits are the same, can take a lot longer to increase the habit strength of. So there's that. Implementation intention is a strategy that requires setting very specific, the term that I used that I learned a few years ago was crispy goals. So the more specific and small your behavior goal is, the more likely you are to successfully implement that goal every day. So instead of just saying, I want to eat less, okay, what does that even mean? Okay, when I am at dinner, then I'm going to do this. Okay, then I'm going to fill half my plate with fibrous veggies. That's a very specific goal. There's no ambiguity. It's very, very clear. So these are things that you can use to, with yourself, with your clients, to make sure you actually implement positive behavior change, and to make sure that if you're trying to increase the habit strength of a given behavior, what I was talking about in my talk was that in the beginning, the habit strength is going to be 0, and the more you practice that habit, the more the strength increases over time. So you want to set yourself up such that you can implement that behavior every day so that it becomes more and more automatic, and then you are thus relying on less and less self-control or willpower. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I think that speaks really well to those behaviors that are deficits, where we don't have enough of them. We need implementation intentions to help increase the skill and the practice of doing the certain task. But then we also have excess behaviors, which are the ones we may want to reduce, which could be like overeating or anything that's counterproductive to our goals. So what would be some strategies that we would use for reducing those kind of habits? One of the questions at the end was asking specifically about trigger foods and things like this. So that would be like an excess habit. So how would we go about that?
The easiest way to do this, and it is very effective, is to change your environment to where you make the target behavior.
Architecture.
Choice architecture in intervention.
I love that. I love that.
You can make the target behavior the easier thing to do, and the undesired behavior harder. So you just make it, all you're doing is making it less convenient for yourself, because I don't think it's a stretch to say humans are inherently lazy, so we're going to take shortcuts and do what's easier. Even if it means I have to reach around this water bottle to grab a soda, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have this water.
Soft drink in Australia.
Huh?
Soft
drinks, I'm sorry. Or, what is a soda? So even things like that can be enough. So one example that I'd like to use to help demonstrate how easy it is for the environment to change your behavior is, you're sitting in your kitchen, the trash bin is usually over here, I'm going to move it over there. Next time I want to throw it out, I have to get up and walk over there. I've changed my behavior without even trying. That is a very, very straightforward way to illustrate how you can very easily change your environment. And even things like, I'm going to put this snack, a bowl of fresh fruit, out on my counter, and I'm going to put the junk food in a not clear container. So there's a study that shows even just a clear container to where you can see what it is, and if it's within reach, you are more likely to eat it. Whereas if it's 5 feet away, I have to get up and walk toward it, or if it's in a drawer, I can't see it, I'm not going to eat it nearly as much. So it sounds so simple to where it's almost offensive, but they work really, really well.
I actually use that when I'm dieting for fat loss and weight loss. I put ice cream and things that I typically overeat and have in the back fridge. We have a fridge in the garage. So when it's cold, I don't want to walk all the way up the hallway. It's just a little bit harder, and I'm less likely to go out there. I've got to really, really want it, as opposed to just have that impulse.
We call it designing for laziness.
Yes, and obviously something you spoke about at length, which I think is so important to your discussion as a whole, is our inability to maintain weight loss. And you spoke about how people diet, they'll lose the weight, but then they actually end up in a worse position after dieting.
All the time, yes.
So what are some ways that the listeners can go about setting up their diet so that they have less chance of rebounding and being in a worse position?
Yes. So a lot of preventing weight regain has to do with how you go about your diet in the first place. You don't just you don't wait until you're done with your diet to be like, okay, what are my next steps? You have to think of that ahead of time. And a lot of that is making sure that the strategy you use to diet down is modest enough or sustainable enough to where you can actually feel good. So my goal with my clients is I want you to feel good every day still, as much as we can. I want you to feel like this diet is easy. If I can get this to feel easy for you, that's a good thing. And I think a lot of people have it in their heads that dieting has to suck. They have to suffer necessarily. Like, no. We want to keep suffering to a minimum. And there's actually research that shows that feelings of deprivation, the more deprived you feel on the diet, the more likely you are to rebound. So keeping tabs on how do I feel, how's my quality of life, how is my energy levels, how are my workouts going, how do I wake up feeling in the mornings, do I feel like my joints hurt to even get out of bed? That's probably a red flag. And so when they start thinking of things like, okay, I'm gonna set my calories to 800 a day, I'm gonna cut all these favorite foods out. I'm like, okay, do you think you can keep this up for 3 months from now? Probably not. So let's probably not do that. So keeping them away, just basically keeping them away from any kind of extreme approach to where we are, I like to say you're navigating the gray area and you're navigating that middle ground to where you're not consuming all the junk food, you're just consuming less of it. And instead of 5 cookies, you're having 1. And just basic things like that to where you have just enough dietary relief every day to where you feel like, okay, I can keep this up for a few months, as opposed to, I feel like complete crap. I can't wait till the weekend comes so I can binge my face off. So I like to always keep tabs on clients' feelings of deprivation, the feelings of satisfaction. Do you even like the way that you eat? And so, because if you like the way you eat, you're more likely to stick to it. And as we know, dietary adherence, obviously coupled with calorie deficit, is the most important determinant of fat loss success. So if I can find ways to get you to consistently adhere to your diet, the easiest way to do that is make sure you actually like it. No brainer.
Boom.
Yeah.
And one final thing I want to talk to you about. This is something we discussed over lunch at Nando's.
Yeah.
And is unrelated to your presentation. But you now have degrees in 2 different fields.
Yes.
And you're getting a 3rd.
Perhaps, not, yeah.
Perhaps, not definitely.
I'll probably know by the end of the week. I think.
Going for the trifecta. How important have you found the increase in your knowledge and the realms of your the information that you are obviously exposed to your coaching of clients?
I would say my grad school experience really taught me to, one, just become more confident with reading research and interpreting research. And then now I have the ability now I have a skill set I need to conduct research of my own, which was one of my biggest goals, which is pretty cool. So, but I would say...
It's very cool to see your
oh my god, I get to present my own research, this is so cool! I loved it. So I would say that, honestly, most of my learning came from outside of school, outside of the formal school setting. It did teach me things like how to manage your time, but also other actual tangible skills like how to, here's the statistics methods that I didn't know before. Here's how to use the stats program that I didn't know how to use before. And that will come in handy for when I conduct research in the future. But I will say that formal education definitely has its place, and I am very pro-education. But again, most of my, especially with practical experience-wise, I did not learn any of that in the school setting. You take a human nutrition course, you don't learn how to set calories or manipulate calories. You don't learn how to coach your clients or how to talk to them when they're struggling. You don't learn any of that. And I think a lot of that came from just personal experience, going through things as a client myself, working with online coaches, and then myself coaching other clients. But I think, if anything, my education has made me very open-minded to everyone is different. There's no one right way for everyone. Whereas before I was like, I was that here's a meal plan for you person. I did that in the beginning. I think everyone kind of was a bro clean eater at first, and I was like, okay, well, if you're struggling with this, you gotta try harder. That was me for a while, and then I realized, oh, this is not working. Wow, they are trying hard, and it's just not working. So I think I just became very almost just kind of like going with the flow a little bit, like, all right, what works for you? Okay, do a little bit of that. We're gonna tweak that a little bit. We're gonna work with where you are and just, what I was saying, gently nudge you in the right direction. And so I think I just became a lot more open-minded to different approaches. And if someone says they genuinely love keto, then keep doing it.
They should stay away from the carb behind.
Yeah, stay away from the carb part, the dessert part. Yeah, exactly. So that was probably the main thing, and just general confidence. And then obviously too, in other people's eyes, I do have more credibility now, and I do have people saying, I'm reaching out to you because you have these credentials now.
Awesome, and I think you embody everything that we're trying to achieve with the evidence-based conference, because you've got the research and the scientific background, you've got the experience personally and with clients, and you are very client-centered, and that is what evidence-based practice is all
and
about.
I think it's hard to be a good coach without some of those. You can't. Researchers are great, but a lot of times I feel like they miss the boat if they don't have the practical experience. They've never actually worked with clients before. They miss out. They don't quite get. Okay, that's fine what the research is, but that doesn't always translate to real life. 100%. And then on the other way around, it has to be both
limitations. And I think you cover all areas, which is awesome.
I tried. Thank you.
Well done. Guys, make sure you check out Sohee, soheefit.com.
.com,
Yeah, not AU, because she's from America, we're from Australia. And check out her book, Eat, Lift, Thrive.
Yes.
Obviously, she's very, very prominent on social media, putting out lots of good graphics and easily digestible information, which is very beneficial for a lot of you guys. So make sure you check it out. Sophie?
Whoa,
Sohee?
what happened there?
Oh, my brain's starting to switch off now. Thank you very much.
All right.
We fist pump and show. See you next time, guys. Sophie.